Yes, sir.
At this time, I'll call to order the Board of County Commissioners meeting for the purpose of agenda review for next week's session. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Commissioner Schaefer, Commissioner Allen. Here. Is here. Commissioner Klicka.
Here.
Commissioner Osterhaus.
Here.
Commissioner Ashcraft.
Here.
Commissioner Brown.
Here.
And Chairman Eilert.
Here. We do have a quorum. Would the clerk read the proposed consent agenda items?
Item number 1, consider approving the October 5, 2017 business session minutes. Item number 2, consider ratifying the chairman's reappointment of James Vaughn as a mechanical engineer representative to the Board of Code Review through May 31, 2020. Item number 3, consider approving an interlocal agreement with the City of Overland Park for connectivity and fiber use for county facilities to connect to the Johnson County Wide Area Network. Item number 4, consider approving a 60-month agreement with Unite Private Networks to provide Johnson County dark fiber from the County Communication Center to Neutrality Properties. And item number 5, consider authorizing a renewal to the contract with Everbridge for the county's mass notification system for a period of 5 years at an annual cost not to exceed $175,215.
All right, is there any questions about the consent agenda? Let's start with item number 3. Mr. Aldridge, any comments you'd like to make? Your name's on the next one, number 4 too, so maybe you could speak to both.
I'm happy to do so. Which item again was first? Was that with neutrality? OP? Okay.
OP joint agreement.
Excellent.
The OP joint agreement is first.
Very good. Good morning again, Commissioners. This is an interlocal agreement that we are, again, pleased to bring before you. It's with the City of Overland Park, and it replaces an agreement that was established initially in 2009. Essentially, this new agreement would add additional connectivity utilizing OP's fiber for Johnson County Parks and Rec at the Matt Ross Community Center. That connectivity would be used for data and voice. The second new location would be the Johnson County Med Act at 8507 Grandview Lane, also used for data and voice. Back to the fact that this is a replacement to a contract, the other county departments that benefit from this interlocal agreement include Parks and Rec, the Johnson County Library, Wastewater, the Johnson County Northeast offices, and then additionally there are public safety departments that also benefit from the utilization of the fiber that the City of Overland Park allows us to utilize.
Again, this is a renewal of an existing agreement.
It is, sir.
Okay. Other questions? Mr. Ashcraft.
Mr. Aldridge, before next week, maybe we could visit just a couple of incidental questions on both these items, if we could.
All right, number 4, if you could speak quickly to that.
Happy to do that. The second item is an agreement. It is a 5-year agreement, and the total cost of the 5-year agreement would be $122,000. This agreement essentially establishes connectivity between our county communication center to a location at 1102 Grand, which this is known as a carrier hotel. And without getting too far into the technical weeds, essentially north of 30 internet carriers converge there. The advantage for us at Johnson County and many of our partners, including the City of Overland Park and others who have equipment in the County Communications Center, benefit from us having this connectivity from, again, the CCC down to 1102 Grand. I'm going to talk through briefly some of those advantages. The first and perhaps most significant for us financially is it gives us the opportunity to negotiate better terms for our internet connectivity. We've estimated that after a term just for Johnson County that we would reach a break-even point after about 2 years once we negotiate the new contracts. The additional advantages include that this provides us a true alternative connection site for our internet connectivity, and that gets back to what I talked about earlier and the importance of diversity of paths and data centers so that our mission-critical systems can stay active and available. This also provides connectivity into the Kansas City metropolitan area, particularly the Core 4 participants also have connectivity into 1102 Grand. And and Commissioners, the advantage here is it begins to position us so that we can get to a point where we can utilize one another's data. We've talked about the idea of a smart county or a smart metropolitan area, and this is establishing that foundation. Two other items. This also will provide GEMS direct access into the Regional Justice Information System. And lastly, it provides us additional options for disaster recovery, meaning that this would be another location that we could consider putting our equipment as a secondary site for equipment that we have on premises.
Okay, questions? All right, these two items will remain on consent. Michael, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Next item, number 5. Ellen, did you have any comments you'd like to make?
Just a couple. Thank you, Chairman and Commissioners. This contract, as you know, we originally contracted with Everbridge in 2012 for our mass notification system. We have negotiated pricing with Everbridge to lock in that same price for 5 years, renewable annually. Good news about the project, we entered into Notify Joco with 3 of our partner cities and Water One. Today we're happy to say that we have 14 participating agencies utilizing Notify Joco, and so we're very excited about that and adding additional partners in the future.
Okay, questions?
Yes.
Mr. Ashcraft.
Before next week, if we could visit a little bit, I have a couple questions on the details.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
reason not to leave this on consent? All right, so will remain. Next item.
Item number 6, resolution number 072-17, conduct a public hearing to receive comments on the proposed 2018 action plan with estimated funding in the amount of $1,900,493, consisting of an estimated $1,080,000 in CDBG and $820,493 in home funds for housing and community development. Close the public comment period. Consider authorizing the county manager to execute related documents, and consider authorizing submission of the 2018 action plan for housing and community development to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development as recommended by the Housing and Community Development Advisory Committee.
Schmidt.
Yes, this is year 4 of our 5-year consolidated plan. Federal regulations and the county citizen participation plan require both for the 30-day public comment period and also conducting the public hearing before we submit the 2018 action plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Okay, questions?
Yes.
Mr. Klicka?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What I'd like to do is either before or in preparation next week's meeting, I'd like to, number one, make sure that what's being set up here, where we're going on this is consistent with the goals that we've set up as a commission.
Yes.
And then I'd be very interested to see how we're doing as the progress goes on the current years.
Okay. Mr. Ashcraft?
Ms. Schmidt, if we could also visit, I can include, and Mr. Thompson may want to participate also.
Okay, well, this does call for a public hearing, so it will remain on action. Next item, 7.
Item number 7, resolution number WD 17-028. Conduct a public hearing and consider authorizing funds to construct the Indian Creek 2 Contract 21 sewer capacity improvements for Johnson County wastewater in an amount not to exceed $6,165,108.04, increasing the total project authorization to $6,602,108.04.
Ms. Becerra.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Susan Pekarik with Wastewater. The purpose of this project, this is a funding request for the construction of capacity enhancements as well as to serve the new development that is going on here at the old Meadowbrook Golf Course. So in front of you, there's a map, an overall map, give you some sense of where we are here. We've got 91st Street running along the top of Meadowbrook Golf Course. We're going to do some capacity enhancements upstream there for large wet weather events or to handle wet weather events. And then downstream of the old Meadowbrook Golf Course, so we're at 95th Street and Row roughly, and we'll be enhancing that capacity all the way down to an area known as Monitor Square. We upsized or worked with the City of Overland Park when they did a flood project here recently, so we've actually already enhanced the capacity through Monitor Square. And then downstream of Monitor Square, connecting into the interceptor that runs along Indian Creek to our Tomahawk Creek wastewater treatment plant will be also increasing the capacity there. So I've got zoomed in maps here. You can see upstream. I guess that's actually where Somerset and 91st Street connect there at Knoll Avenue. That's where the upstream capacity enhancements will occur. Downstream, 95th and Row to Monitor Square. And then the very lowest portion of this particular sewer system connecting into the interceptor, and there's Indian Creek running along through the southern portion of this map that we've got on the screen now. And so we finished the design, and we have open bids, and the award of the construction contract will be the next item. So this funding request includes funding for the construction contract as well as engineering phase services. In addition, when the work is complete, we are going to complete a project utilizing one of Overland Park's contracts for mill and overlay on Rowe Avenue. With that, I'll be happy. And we've included this project in our capital improvement program that we presented to you earlier.
Questions? Mr. Ashcraft?
Mr. Chairman, just generally, Ms. Bacaric, before next week, on several of these, you've got the next 4 items.
Yeah.
I have a few questions if we
Okay,
can meet.
sure.
Thank you.
Well, this calls for a public hearing, and item number 8 is a related item to that public hearing, so those two will remain on action. Number 9,
Resolution number WD 17-030, conduct a public hearing and consider funding the equipment purchase for the SMTC Contract 39A, Turkey Creek Wastewater Treatment Facility clarifier equipment repair project located at the Nelson Complex in an amount not to exceed $717,294.
Good morning. Susan Picaric with Wastewater again. This is a funding request for the purchase of primary and final clarifier equipment. The map you see before you, you see this yellow boundary here that comprises what's known as our Nelson Complex. The Nelson Complex actually has 2 wastewater treatment plants co-located at the same place. On the east, generally north and east portion of this particular complex is what's known as the Mission Main Treatment Plant. That was the very first treatment plant in the Johnson County wastewater system. Dates back to 1947. But in the south and west portion of this yellow boundaried area, that is known as the Turkey Creek Wastewater Treatment Plant. It dates back to 1959. The equipment that works in the clarifiers that are shown in the 2 red boxes on this map have reached the end of their useful life, and we do need to replace those. This equipment removes solids from those clarifiers, which is critical to meeting our permit requirements and for the operation of the treatment plant. Due to the long lead time of this equipment, we have bid that equipment first, and we want to go ahead and pre-purchase that. Next month, we'll advertise for a contractor to provide bids on the installation. So after those bids are received, we would be returning to you at that time for funding and contract award for the installation of the equipment.
okay? Again, this is a public hearing,
Yes,
so
sir.
we'll remain on action. Questions? All right, next item. Is this a companion item?
Yes, sir, that's the contract award for the equipment. So it's a companion to this one.
So that also will remain on action?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Ms. Bacaric, on these 2 items, Brentwood Industries appears to be the low bidder at $600,870, but on the companion item, it says the low bid is $640,870. Can you clarify the $40,000 difference?
I'm sorry, on the, okay. I will have
Are you
to
tracking with
verify
me
that.
on that?
Let me
Okay.
verify.
That was one of my questions.
Very
but I
good
just
question. Okay.
was trying to figure that one out.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, 9 and 10 will remain on action. Item number 11.
Resolution number 085-17, consider approving general obligation bonds to be issued by the governing body of Consolidated Fire District Number 2, Northeast Johnson County, in the maximum principal amount of $6,500,000 to finance the acquisition, construction, and equipping of a fire station at or about 7810 Mission Road, Prairie Village, Kansas.
Yes, Mr. Ford?
Bob Ford, Legal Department. This is a statutory requirement that the board approve the fire district's bonds to construct a new fire station at about 80th and Mission in Prairie Village. There's been a publication, notice, and there's been no protest petition received. So next week, the board will take that matter up and approve or disapprove the fire district issuance of $6.5 million worth of bonds to be paid over 20 years for the construction of this new fire station.
Questions? Mr. Ashcraft?
Mr. Chairman, just clarification, does the county assume any burden by this bond process, or is this totally separate?
My understanding is this would be an assessment within the fire district itself, and it's not a bond of the county, it's a bond of the fire district, which is a separate legal entity.
But there's, because of there being an appendage of the county, we still have to approve it. That's right.
It's a
They're
statutory
creation of-
requirement.
Creation of state statutes, so.
And I don't know the history of that. I know you approve their budget, so it's probably tied to that
Okay.
requirement.
Thank you.
All right, well, again, this will remain on action also. Are there any other items?
No, sir.
All right, that concludes our agenda review. We are adjourned from that. We remain in recess, and we will reconvene in the conference room for executive session. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.